All right, let's take this bench and make it 3D to really get a feel for what exactly is going on. There's a couple things that I have questions about, like what's happening in the back here, what's happening with the seam up here. Maybe it's getting veneered. Probably a continuous toe kick. This looks like a hardwood edge here and here and here, but then we got this side that's happening there, which is this side. This side's going down, which you kind of don't see that there. And then this is a section through. So what I'm going to do is I've started a new project. My material file is roughly set up. You know, yours is set up a little bit better than this one, but this should give you the idea. And what I see right now, I see two cabinets. I see a toe kick. Those are three separate entities. And then I see a couple of side end panels. And then this back part here, I actually see as kind of like a die wall. So, and if this was me and this was my project, I would actually throw another top on here so that, number one, it's going to give it a little bit more rigidity. Number two, it's going to cover up all those seams, and I'm not going to have to worry about veneering anything. So I might, or that's going to work on right now. So this is just two simple cabinets. So I'm going to go into, so I'm in a project already. I started it. I got the material file tweaked to be something that's going to get me close. And I'm going to do a new room. And we'll just call this the bench. Do everything in capitals because that's a drafting thing. So bench, I'm just going to call it, this is good template, same template that you have. All right, so I'll zoom in to where we can start to draw. And I just have this drawing open, the 2D drawing open, just as a reference to figure out some sizes. So these are two base cabinets that are 34.875 wide and 20 tall and 22 and 15/16 or 23. What's this? 75. I'm gonna shrink this up a bit, and you'll see why in a second. So I'm gonna stick with this 22 and 15/16. All right, so let me just set all those numbers so you don't remember. This was 34.875. We'll start with that. So we'll go to bench, go to model space. I'm in the right spot, and I'm going to go to draw. And I don't really care about a wall in this particular project, so I'm going to skip walls, go right to products. This is a base, and it's just an open base. There's nothing to it. So I'm going to say open base, right click. Let's place this at a selected point. And I'm just going to pick my 0, 0, 0 point. And I'm just hitting 0, 0, 0. And this is going to draw, or this is going to pull open the prompts. This was 34.875. The height on this was 20 inches plus the 3-inch kick. So I'm going to say 23 inches. The depth on this was 22.9375. I'm not 100% sure where that's going to bring us, so I'll draw it, I'll measure the depth, and then I'll adjust accordingly to coming back in here. The toe kick on this particular project is only going to be 3 inches tall. And the last thing that I need to do is this technically is not going to be an adjustable shelf. It's going to be a fixed shelf. So right now it's set to be an adjustable shelf with an adjustable shelf set back. I want to do it as a fixed shelf. So I'm just going to click this box. And then the setback is going to go to from 1/8 of an inch to 0. All right, so let's just see what this draws like, and we'll measure the depth and stuff. Now I have my drawing set up, should have it set up to not, my construction's a little bit different than your construction. So what you'll see here is my construction, but when you draw it, you're going to see your construction throughout. Now I made a mistake on the countertop, so I got to get rid of that. But before I do that, I'm just going to type in DI for distance, and I'm going to measure from here to the front edge to make sure I am 22.9375. Yes, good. And I'm going to just jump back into this and just make sure, okay, 22. And now I did keep that in, so it's a little bit shallow. If it needs to be that depth, then I would adjust, but I want to show you why I'm doing that. So last thing I need to do is this kick is the right height, but it's actually, in this case, it's going to not have a kick, and that's just not the way my library is set up. That is the way yours is. So I'll just come into my project properties and go into Wizard and turn this off so it matches more like what you are doing. I'm going to turn off draw cabinets, and I'm going to go into additional construction and just make it so that my toe kicks are a ladder style kick, which is going to make it a separate kick for each one. So we'll say save and close, yes. And then I just need to redraw this guy. And the last thing I'm going to do for this particular cabinet is I'm going to change it so it's a full top. I don't want the stretchers. So I'm just going to say that this is going to be a, I thought it was right. It might be under advanced options, full top. We'll say yours is already set up for thick back, but we'll say full top, thick back. We'll see if that gets rid of those. Perfect. So so now if I do, again, the construction method is going to look different here because mine's just stock. Yours is been customized. One trick that I found in working with 3D AutoCAD, so I want to verify width, height, and depth all at the same time of what's actually getting drawn. So I can click this front corner, I can click this back corner, and look, my X is my width, my Y is my depth, and my Z is my height. All said and done. All right, so this looks good. Now I'm going to copy it. So I have, I thought I had a thing set up there, but I don't. So I can go into modify, and I can hit copy for a room component, or I can actually go copy for a product. But in this case, I actually want to add it to this custom, so I don't have to mess with this again. So I'm going to say, this is a side tangent here, but it's all part of the process. This is just because mine isn't set up here. So I think it's product. Oh, come on now. Copy. Okay, apply. Okay, there it is. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to pick a base point. I'm going to move it over here. And it's going to copy that product. So now I have my two start of the bench. Oops. So there's my two base cabinets. Now I'm going to throw in a ladder style just for the drawing purposes. So I'm going to go back up to, instead of modify, I'm going to go to draw. And I'm going to go to drop down, and I'm going to say this is toe kicks. Base assembly is one, and then there is a stretch frame. The only difference is this, see how this has got just verticals and then like an L shape and an L shape versus this, which has got L shapes throughout. So we'll use this base assembly. And I'm going to say, let's just pick a point to draw this. And this is cool. So I drew this one at 0 by 0 by 0. So that's actually where the kick's going to go. So instead of me trying to pick a point, I can just type in 0, 0, 0. And this width is going to be the width of both of those together. So what we can do is we can double click in here, and I can just pick between this point and this point. And it's going to pull in that 69 3/4. The depth on this, I'm not 100% sure, but I do know the height is 3 inches. So I'm going to come back to the depth. Actually, I have the PDF open, so I'll just come over here. And I don't really know the depth. So I'll click OK. Let's get it drawn. And then I will come back in and we'll adjust. So This depth that I have from here to here is at 20. Oh, it's 19.75, I think, because, or 19.875. Yeah, we got a little bit of an inset here. We got that there. I don't really like that. So what I'm going to do is go back here and just dimension from this point to this point. So I got 21.70. I'm not sure why. It should be 2 inches minus this 22. So I'll do the calculate feature. And I'll do 22.9375 minus 2. So it'd be 20.9375 is what I want that kick to be. So let me jump back into the prompts. And there's a few things that are happening here. See how it's pulled in? The sides are also, they have like some tabs on them because they're thinking about scribing. But the front width is fine. So we just need, there's some settings, some parameters that need to be adjusted within this to get it to do what I want it to do. So I want the depth to be 20.9375. I want, see this tab here and the tab here and the base, the back space of the wall, I want that to be 0. I don't want the tabs, but instead of making those 0 and 0, I'm just going to say, well, yeah, I'm going to make them 0 and 0 because technically we're putting on a finished done panel. So 0, 0 on those guys. And click OK. It's going to redraw that, and it should redraw at the right depth and height. So I'm going to pick this back corner, and I'm going to pick this top piece here. And here's my width, depth, and height. So now I got my 2 cabinets with my kick that's going underneath all of them. Next is we're going to have a couple of side pieces. So we got a side piece going here, side piece going here, and then a like a kind of like a drywall going there. Yeah, I'm imagining if this is a bench, this is going to have to be a solid piece here and here, and that's why I kept the back, because I want that solid piece to keep going down to the floor. So this essentially will be, 2 cabinets, a toe kick, a back piece, and then these end caps could just be integrated into that, maybe like a miter fold in the back. So we'll see that. So what I'm going to do, just for time's sake, is I'm just going to copy this back piece here. So I'll copy it, and I'm going to come and I'm going to look over here, and stupid watch is yelling at me saying, get up and move around. Sometimes we have to sit for a little while. All right, so what I want to do is I could do it. Let's do it from the top just to show you this process. So the only difference that's happening here, and I'm going to actually pull both of these pieces in. These are all good pieces to have. So this is going to change because I'm going to just explode this. So I'm going to type in X, enter, trash this line, extend this line down, trash this line. So I'm just trimming that up. I want to measure this just to make sure these are all not crazy. So I got 4.5, 46. This is kind of a weird number, this 543. So I'm thinking that it probably should be 7.5. I don't know if maybe that was done so that this could be a good angle, maybe. I don't think so though. So I'm going to clean that up. So I'm just going to dimension this angle, see if it's like well, this number sometimes is deceptive, so you might want to select it. See how it says measurement 170? It could not be that. So I'm just going to type in units or unit. See how my angle on my decimal degrees is off, or it's set to round to the nearest 0. Well, I want it to round to the nearest 5. I actually want this one to round to the nearest 5. So when I'm taking my dimensions, I can make sure there's no crazy numbers. Now when I select the C, I got some crazy numbers there. So So now I know that that angle doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is I want to make this, instead of the 0.7, or yeah, instead of 7.543, I want to just make it 7.5. So line 7.5. And I'll bring that other line up. So it's a 32nd of an inch difference. Maybe, is this supposed to be? Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe that's 28.5. That's supposed to be that. I mean, you have a CNC machine. I'm just going to clean this up. I mean, you can do it however you want, but if this was going in my shop, I'd make this a good number and make this whatever it turns out to be. Yeah, 7 3/4. There you go. All right, so now I have, this is my back. I'm just going to join it. This is my die wall outline, but I have to fill it with some die wall stuff. Now, in this case, we're looking at 60 something inches, 69 3/4. This distance here, the reason why it's off is because it probably went from the top. It's probably measuring a diagonal from the top of one down to the bottom of the other. So the X is what we need to look at. So 69 3/4, 69 3/4. So let's divide that out evenly. So to calculate 69.75, let's just divide it by 4 and see what we get. It's about 17. That's too little. So 69.75 divided by 5. It's about a stud every. Yeah, we'll do that. So we'll do 5 studs. So there's a couple things that I would do in this case. I would pull this down. And I would do 69.75 by 7.5. And we'll take a look at what this needs to be, just for a number's sake. So I want to put a 3/4 inch one here. So 3/4 by 7.5, which is wrong actually. I'm going to have a 3/4 inch front piece, 0.75. I'm going to have a 3/4 inch back piece, or you could do 1/2 inch, but we'll just call it 3/4. And I want to copy this so that I'm going from this side to this side, basically doing a quick plan section down through this wall. So this is going to have a back piece that's here, and I'm probably going to miter fold it. You can do whatever you want, but this is, again, this is kind of just me working through this. But this front piece, I'm going to go here. So before I do that, let's just grab this. Sometimes in AutoCAD, so now because I just drew this over top of that rectangle that was below, but I want to get to the below one so I can delete it. Sometimes, if you need to, you can grab everything here, or grab just one thing here, doesn't matter. When you draw something on top of something else, the second one is on top. So I want to take these and I actually want to push them to the back. So I'm going to highlight them, right click and hold it for a little bit of, it should be set up that way. Right click, I think actually when something's highlighted, you don't need to hold it. So you right click and I just want to say, let's move these pieces to the back. And now I can highlight the one that goes, the border that goes around, and just trash it. So now I have my front skin, my back skin, my studs. This I want to miter fold, so I'm going to say, let's make this 3/4 of an inch out. Let's make this 3/4 of an inch out. So I'm just stretching just the top corner. And then this, I want to copy it from here to, and I want to array it. So I just typed in CO to copy, A for array. The number of items to array is, I want 5 studs. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I should say, let's say 5. And then I want to do 5 and I want to fit them in between these two. So they're evenly spaced. Well, let's just dimension this and see if I did that right. If I did not do that right, then I'll come back. Yeah, that's too much, or too little. I want a little bit more. So I did delete the extra one that was there, but now I'm going to copy this again. And if I wanted to, because I'm copying from the outside corner, I should be able to do this. Copy from here, array, 6, fit here. And now we have 6 equally spaced 13.05, 13.05, 13.05. Okay, so those are 16 equally spaced. Now I do need to put an additional here, and I'll put an additional one here. This is again just for my visual aid. That's going to be miter folded. This is going to be miter folded. So now that I've got this in plan section, I'm just going to adjust this to match. So if this was me, I would put in a bottom plate. Well, first things first, we're going to want to put in this front. So 3/4 of an inch by whatever that is. It's going to pull to the inside. This is also going to be 3/4 of an inch by the height. Then we have a top plate that's going to go in here. That is, I don't know, we'll say 6 inches by 3/4. And we're going to have another piece that's going here. Now this I would miter, or I would square off the one end. Let's just miter it. So let's do a rectangle. We'll do a rectangle starting here, but I want to do a specific dimension. I want to type in D for dimension. I want this angle, and I want it to be 3/4 of an inch. And then I want this to be rotated to align with what's going on here. So I'm going to highlight this, type in RO, enter. Pick this corner, pick R for reference, and then just pick 2 points. Doesn't matter which ones. Well, the first one's got to be that bottom corner. The second one doesn't matter. I'm just going to pick a point along this. Doesn't matter, just to align it. So now we can see kind of what's going on here. This is going to have to get pulled back because this is going to get mitered. So we could draw a line in there if we wanted to. Sometimes when you're moving this stuff, you don't have a good spot to go to. So we got a miter fold going on there. This, I don't know if I'd miter fold that. I might just cut this off. So what I'll do is I'll trim, so TR for trim this, and then I'm just going to grab, I don't want to trim one more time, trim this one. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to say from open, because it's open right now, to closed. And then same with this one, I'm going to trim, actually I do want to miter this because I don't want to see that front edge. So same with this, I'm just going to put a line through. Again, you might not do it this way, but this is just me logically going through this as thinking about construction. So I'm going to pull this down, and I'm going to pull this down. Now we won't see a seam on the front or the back. And the last thing I want to do is I want to put in a plate here, and it's going to be 3/4 of an inch tall. So we got the upper plate, we got the lower plate. Now we need to detail the studs. So same with this. I want to select the border because I don't need that anymore. So I'm going to select this, right click, send to back. So we're going to find draw order, send to back. Let's try that again. If something happened with my AutoCAD. So draw order, send to back. There it is. There's my border. Well, you know what? I don't want to trash it. I'm just going to move it over 12 inches so I have it. So good time to save. And when my AutoCAD starts doing some funky stuff, just hit Control F. Control S to save it. All right, so now let's work on this stud. And actually what I could do, and the reason why it was good to just move that over, so the stud's actually just going to be a 3/4 inch offset from here. So I'm just going to offset that, and now I can move this in. Now it looks like I have arch, yeah. So I'm going to just move this back 12 inches, so now I have a stud there. So I do want the stud to be on top. And this is just for me working on it. We could, if I wanted to, I might add another plate here. Let's just add another plate. So we got double plates. Then when you go to install, you can put that one on the floor and screw it down. If this is just a freestanding unit, then I would just do a single plate. And now I got a plate up here. I'm going to do another plate up here. So this is going to be the same. Say 6 by 3/4. Now in this case, we could just grab, yeah, we should be able to grab this and go where it intersects, and grab this and go where it intersects. So that plate's going to have a little bit of an angle to it. And again, with my drawing order, send to the back so I can isolate this guy. So this is going to move this down. And I'm going to pick the points and move it down, because if I were to just grab that top point, so now I have my stud going on. Now, maybe your stud is going to go have a 3-inch rabbet, so we can just add that in. Or sorry, 3/8 of an inch rabbet. We'll add that in here. We'll add that in here. So your stud's going to be a little deeper. I don't think wiring is going to be a problem, but if it was, I would add a wire pull. No, I don't think you're going to need wiring, so I'll just leave that as a solid stud. All right, so now we can start to think about wrapping this and creating some 3D drawings from here that I can analyze. So, and the other last thing too to think about too is this top we got to figure out. So I might do, so this is 6 inches, 6.5 inches by 1 inch, 6.5 by 1 inch. On the side though, it looks like it's narrower. This is why it's good to draw this in 3D, because I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around how that's gonna look with just a narrow edge there. So let's draw the outside, and then we'll add the top cap in there. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna copy the stud. I'm gonna copy it over 24. I'm gonna take I want to extrude some things, but here's what we got. We got the sides, which have a certain profile, but we got the front, which doesn't have a profile, just going up. So this can extrude up by the height. So the height of this is 46. So I'm going to orbit. So type in orbit it around, and I'm going to type in these guys. I'm just going to get rid of these, not get rid of them. I'm just going to move these guys over. So I'm going to extrude this back part by 46. So now that's just become a 3D solid, which is what we want. And if we wanted to, we could just move this right out of the way, so it's just out of my way completely. Because that's going right to, well, it is going here, but then it's actually going back an additional 7.5 inches. So now that I moved it there, I can just say, hey, let's push this back a little bit more, 7.5. All right, the next one that we can do is this one. It's got a little bit of it's got this angle here. So what I could do is I could extrude this up, whatever this height is, but then I'm gonna have to worry about the angle. You know, I got that funky angle there. I don't want to add the angle into my 3D on the top edge, because that's a little bit more difficult. So what I'll do is I'll extrude this and this at the length that is required, which is here. I'm just trying to keep it easy so that I don't have to edit the 3D stuff when I'm done. So I got 69 3/4. So let's type in extrude one more time. And I'm going to pick this outside and this one. And actually, I'm going to pick this top cap too. And I'll pick the bottom one. Might as well. And I'm going to extrude this up. What was it? 69 3/4. So there's that. Now this is all at a weird angle. So I'm going to highlight everything. And I'm going to type in 3D rotate. And I'm going to grab this vertex, I guess you'd call it, and I want to rotate it this way so that my top is up. And I'm gonna grab everything one more time and just right click again to do 3D rotate, and I'm gonna grab now this blue one and rotate it back so that my face is going the right way. And now this whole thing can go from here to here. So here's my back wall that's starting to take shape. Looks like I'm off for something. Oh, you know what it was? I'm off the 3/4 of an inch. I have it out too far, so that's fine. So I'm just going to move it back. I could pick points to move it back, but I want to just make sure my reasoning was right. So I'm going to say 3/4 of an inch back. Okay, yeah. Next, we have the studs that we got to think about. So this one was a stud. The studs are going to be 3/4 of an inch tall. So I'm going to extrude this out by 3/4. This needs to rotate, so I'm going to type in 3D rotate again. 3D rotate. And I'm going to grab, again, this vertex and get it upright. And grab it again and hit enter. I'm going to grab the blue one. And we're going to rotate that 90 degrees. So there's my stud. Now, in this case, this is cool. So this stud is going here, right? But it's actually going up 3/4, or it's going up 3/8 of an inch. Oops, 3/8 of an inch. 0.375. I have another plate that's going to go in here. So I am just going to copy this using the AutoCAD copy command. So I just typed in copy, and I moved up that plate. Last thing I want to do is I want to get this plate that's got the angle in the front also put into place. So I'm going to extrude this up by 36 3/4, and I'm going to rotate, 3D rotate again. So we're going to rotate this way. Now this is kind of funky because it does have an angle on the one side, so I just want to make sure you rotate it the right way. So it looks like I got to go up, and then it looks like I got to go around. Oops, I went the wrong way. That's okay. I'm just going to grab this now that I did and just typed in 180. Just went the wrong way. So I'm going to grab this. The good thing about extruding, and I'm just going to move it from point A to point B, you do not have to use the Microvellum move command. This is AutoCAD we're in right now. So the good thing about this, just move that to the right spot. So I'm going 3/8 of an inch up. The good thing about the extrusion tool, though, is you have the ability to, like, I did that wrong. I knew I did that wrong. See how I have it at the wrong height? Or the wrong, now, it was height before, but now it's the wrong width. So I must have made a mistake. I must have hit 36 instead of that. The one thing that happens, like, look at my AutoCAD. This is called a quick properties. If I need to see the height, I can type in MO to see more properties. So yeah, it was supposed to go to 69 and I put 36. So I just got to type in 69. One thing that for some reason, the OEM version, you have to do some editing here. So see this? This is a quick properties. It's telling me the color and the layer. But if I go to properties, look, it's telling me a whole lot more information about this. Well, I want this height to be on the quick property so I don't have to go into properties every time. So we can go into CMU, or Custom User Interface is what it's called. And I can say, hey, for 3D extrusions, show me the height, please, in this quick properties. You can show some other stuff, too. You can show X, Y, Z, direction, taper angle, some other things here. If maybe I don't care about the color of the layer, you can turn those off. And then if I'm done with this, I can close it and just... well, I guess I gotta save it here. Oh, my screen was hiding some stuff on the bottom. So I'm just gonna say apply, okay. Now when I select this 3D solid, look, all of those here are in the quick property, so I can change it here. So I'm gonna grab this, make sure my length or height is the right, and we're good. All right, so the next thing I need to do is just copy these studs over. And now, because I have this template, or because I have this 2D down here, I can just hit copy. And I can start here. And I can do array 6 and just pick to this endpoint. And now all my studs have been put into place without me having to worry about it. Now, here's another trick. I'm going to copy this again. And I'm going to say, let's move this over here. And we could do the same thing, copy. Array 6. So now I have those studs. So one of the things that's happening here is this stud goes into this plate by 3/8 of an inch for a dado. So I didn't model that in, and I want to. So what I can do is I'm just going to highlight these studs. This is another cool thing. Like once you start doing 3D modeling, this gets busy. This gets really busy, and you're like, I'm having a hard time seeing what's going on. Well, I just want to see just these studs and those 2 plates. That's it. So I've highlighted them just by selecting a point, and I'm gonna apparently hit the wrong thing. I just right clicked, maybe too long. So I'm gonna highlight them one more time. No big deal. And I'm gonna right click, and I'm gonna hit. I'm actually gonna come down here. This little square, circle, triangle, and I'm gonna say hide or isolate these objects. So now all I see is this. So the whole drawing, that's all I see. So what I want to do is I want to subtract the part that's touching. So what I can do, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to grab those studs that are here, and I'm going to copy them back 12 inches. And I'm just going to, and then I'm going to say, I'm going to type in subtract, subtract. And it says pick the item that you want to subtract solid from is basically what it's asking you. So I'm going to pick this one, and then pick the solids you want subtracted, which are these. And then I'm going to right click. Now my dados have been put in. But what it does is it deletes the ones that were previously there. It deletes them. They're gone. So I'm just going to take the ones that I copied back. This is why I've been copying them a lot. And I'm going to move them back 12 inches. And I'm going to do the same thing again for the top. So subtract. Pick the item that you want the solid subtracted from. And I'm going to pick the solids that I want subtracted. This only works with solids. But now I have my dados in the bottom, my dados in the top. And I can come back down to this trio here of shapes and hit end, and now I can see that everything's here, but here's my copied studs, which now I can move into place, and these are the ones that we will use. I'm just going to move this from here to here, and now I have my wall with the studs. I have miter fold. I got the miter fold going on here. This seam I'm worried about hiding. This one not so much, because we're going to put the solid on it. Last thing I have to do is extrude these 2 ends, put them on there. I do have to put a miter on them. We'll see if I can remember how to do that. Oh, and I do want to put a countertop across this, like a small countertop. So what I want to do, let's do that first. So let's do a rectangle, and I'm just going to do a rectangle over top of the whole thing, and then I'm going to extrude this up 3/4 of an inch, and I'll include that. So if we hide this and do a conceptual view, we can see it kind of coming together. I'm not too worried about the material, the layer that this stuff is on just yet, but we can see this 3D bench coming together. So go back to my wireframe. I'm just gonna make sure I'm still recording. Yeah. And now I'm gonna let's extrude these 2 sides. So let's extrude this guy 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to extrude this guy 3/4 of an inch. Now this, we have a few things going on. I do need to put a miter in that back corner on both of these. And I do need to rotate this around. So let's just do the 3D rotate first. 3D rotate. And let's grab this axis so we can go upright. And we'll do it one more time and hit this axis so we can go to the front. Same with this guy. Well, we got the command active, so we'll go upright. And again, we'll go to the front. So now I just need to put a miter here, and the best way to do that, there's a couple ways that we can do that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these into place. Yeah, that's what I could do. So I'm going to pick this point on the outside corner here. And pick this point on the outside corner here. This might be a little difficult to see. I'm actually going right there, so I got it. So now that these are here, I'm going to grab this again. Or I'm going to grab this top front piece and I'm going to copy it. Because again, we want to do some subtracting here. I'm going to copy it twice though. 12 and 24. And I'm going to type in subtract. I'm going to pick this piece to subtract the solids from, and I'm going to pick the back. Now I'm going to move the back in 12 inches. Now the reason why I'm doing two separate sides here, subtract, is because when you do subtract, I'm going to pick the ones I want to subtract from and then pick the thing I'm subtracting. The reason you want to do those two separate times is because if you subtract them both at the same time, it actually joins them together and it gives you a little bit of trouble. And I'm going to move that back in 24 inches. So let's go back to this conceptual. So now I have kind of a good cabinet coming together here. If this was me and I was doing it, I might have a little bit more. This has got a little bit more because, oh, I see there's a problem with that. Might have to redo those because I wasn't thinking about this top piece that I added. So in AutoCAD, what's kind of cool is you can undo as many times as you need to get back to what it was. So I do know that I need to copy this out. So let's do that first. So copy out 12 and 24. And I don't remember doing, oh yeah, that should be fine. And I need to edit this a little bit. So let me go to the top down view. And we got a couple things going on here. So what we could do, because the height changed up, right? Well, now I want to see this as a section. So if I type in a command called section plane, now it's going to ask me orthographic is what I want, and I want to go left. See how it just sliced that through? Now, in this case, this little line right here is where my cutting plane is. So now I can select this, right click, and hit generate a section, 2D section. I do want to say I don't, yeah, that's fine. All objects is fine. This is not really for drawing. This is really just for me to recreate the sides here. So you select a spot to drop it, and then you click it like 4 or 5 times to just get it, because it's asking you, do you want to rotate it? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? So now if I look at this from the top view, and I grab this and I just explode it, just dropped it in as a block. See, it throws in some hatches here. It's okay. You know, I don't really care if it's got the hatches or not, really. So we can see that my sides, I want to edit these sides so that they do what I need them to do. So let's just see what this is. It's got 34 inches there. This is just going and continuing with the same line. So I'm just going to recreate this just because I know we changed a few things. So this goes here and goes out. This comes here and goes here and here and here and up. I'm going to just chamfer with a 0 so that that closes that out. Now here I am going to change this up a little bit. I want this to come out 1/16 of an inch. Might even go 1/8 of an inch. I want this to come out 1/8 of an inch. So they're not flush. Let's make this 1/8 of an inch too. Just so they're not flush. And then this angle here is going to be reflected in the front. So we can just do two things. We can extend this. Well, let's make it so that it's actually the full angle. And then I'll just move this from here to here. Make sure I'm perpendicular. And I'm going to trim this to there. And I'm going to type in join. And I'm going to grab this. So here's that side. It's kind of recreated. Oop, I must have made a mistake here. That's okay. I'm going to come out 1/8 of an inch. Oops. Made a big mistake here. Let's just do this. Sometimes AutoCAD makes mistakes like that. That's okay, but it's sometimes getting that angle back is problematic. So I'm just going to redraw this in and trim this here and then join these together. So I just want to make sure that's a closed polyline, which it is. So now this is my new, whoa, what is going on? Oh, I wonder if I have I might have a setting set for the join command that I had from a previous project. That's fine. It's fine, this happens. We'll just grab this point here and go here. Now I'm gonna trim. And let's join and see what happens top and bottom here. Interesting. All right, so I have the join command maybe set up funky, or I could do one of two things. I'm not sure why that join command is being stupid. Maybe because, I don't know. So I'll just close this as a polyline. I just need a closed polyline. All right, so there's the first one. Next one is going to be the same, except I have this square cut at 34 inches off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this over. We'll copy it over something I can emulate. And I'm going to put in a line here. And I'm going to offset 34 inches. Offset 34 inches. Okay, and then I know that this, see, this is why I like to copy things over a set increment, because I forgot that, and now I don't have to redo it. I can just copy it over 36 again. So this is going to get trimmed here, trimmed here, trimmed there. So actually it might be better if it did have that little bit of an angle on it. I know that's going to be a pain in the butt, but it would look a little bit more symmetrical. So now I have my two sides. I'm just going to copy them over, and then we'll go back to what we did last time. So I'll rotate this around. This is why it's nice to do this stuff in 3D. Extrude this guy 3/4 of an inch. Extrude this guy 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to 3D rotate both of these together. So this is my first one. Grab both of them again. This is my second one. Just going to go to the back. Okay, and now I'm going to move this into place. This is going on this side. This is going on this side. Pretty sure that's right. Yeah. This is going on this side. Now this, if we're having trouble seeing this, like I'm pretty sure I'm in the right spot, but I can always orbit this around and then move it again, but I'm in the right spot. So orbit it back. I've always had a tendency to view things this way. Last thing I want to do is do the subtract again. I'm going to subtract. Why does that look weird? Oh, it looks like I have the wrong extension on that. This one's 3/4 of an inch, right? Yeah. And look, I got my 1/8 of an inch offset there. Don't have an 1/8 of an inch offset there. I would like to have an 1/8 of an inch offset there. I don't know if the customer's going to want that, but this might give them an option. So I want to do an 1/8 of an inch here. This one's fine. It's just the one that's going to be close and touching. I mean, unless you're veneering everything afterwards, which you totally could be doing. But I don't like that. So I'm going to offset this an 1/8 of an inch. If I can get away with not veneering, I'm happy with that. Get rid of that. And I'm just going to trim this guy. All right, and then we'll join this together. I don't know why that join command is being weird. Another one that you can do to join, if I'm having trouble like with that one, you can type in P, edit, and then select all these polylines, and then say, do you want to convert them all to polylines? Yes, and I would like to join them all. Join type is set to 0, perfect. And right click, and now these are closed polylines. A few different ways. In AutoCAD, there's always a few different ways to make stuff work. So now I'm going to extrude one more time. I think that's everything I need. This is why we do the 3D, to really tell what's going on. And I'm gonna 3D rotate this. I'm going to rotate up. I'm going to rotate this back. And we're going to move this one from here to here. I'm going to move this one from here to there. And come in the front here. Something's off here. Yeah, it looks like I picked the wrong points, so that's fine. Pick from here to here. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's orbit this one more time. Okay, so subtract. Subtract. So I want to pick the item I want to subtract from and pick this. Move this back 12 inches. Subtract again. AutoCAD's great because if you suck at spelling like I do, it's smarter than that. Okay, and now I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it back in 24 inches. So now I can look at this conceptual, and see what we got. This one here, I might actually pull this out 1/8 of an inch as well. So in this case, I can still edit this. I just want to make sure I'm pulling it out straight. Sometimes too, and if you're trying to pull it out straight 1/8 of an inch here, see how it's kind of hard to tell which way it's going. Just zoom out a little bit and just get it going in the right direction and type in the 1/8 of an inch. So now that should line up. Okay, so now let's orbit this around. Perhaps this wouldn't matter to have the 1/8 of an inch there if you're putting solid and it's kind of like mitering up there, but I'll just leave that alone. You can tweak things as needed. The last thing I need to do is put a top on this thing, and I think we're ready to go. I am gonna trash most of the stuff that's here that we used to get here, or I don't have to trash it, but I can just get it out of the way so it's not in my way. When I'm all said and done, I can recreate most of that stuff with the 2D, with that section plane tool, so I could trash most of that. So now, let's put in a top. So the top was 6.5 inches deep by the length. Actually, maybe I should have kept this there. So the top, let's go back to this bench drawing. Okay, so it's flushing out on this side. Okay, so we don't need to mess with too much. All right, so let's go back. I'm gonna, now this, whenever I think about saving is usually a good time to save. So I'm gonna hit Control S to save. And this time, this is another way that you can do things. Like I wanna just add that solid piece right to this. So I'm into my left and I wanna make this a view that I can draw in. So I'm gonna say UCS and I'm gonna type in view. And then I can draw a rectangle that is 6.5 by 1, and I can orbit. And when I extrude, it's actually going to extrude along this depth. See? So now I can just type in the depth that I want. Let's say 69 3/4. Actually, this is going to be a little bit longer than that. So this is going to be 71 1/4. I kind of want to have a little bit of an overhang. What do you have for an overhang? Let's do it so that there's the overhang in the back is fine, but let's do it so like if this is 3/4 of an inch, I want to put an 1.5 inch cap on it. 1.5 inch cap, that's going to give me 3/8 of an inch overhang. So that on this would be plus 3/4 of an inch. So just jump in here and say plus 3/4, 70.5. Now I can move this from here to here because it's going to align with this guy, right? And I'm just going to zoom in, and then I'm going to move this over, or back, I mean, by 1 1/8 inches, which is going to give me a 3/8 of an inch overhang here, and a 3/8 of an inch overhang on this side. So I did the math wrong. This should be distance from here to here. Should be 71 and 3, or 71 and a quarter. Oh, 71. Let's try this again. 71 and a quarter plus 3/4 of an inch. So it should be 72, which is perfect. It's just what I want. It's a great measurement. So we got 72 there. This 1/8 of an inch might be a problem. I might have to redo that side, but that's okay. So, because I might, yeah, because I don't want that to happen. So let's actually, the overhang there doesn't really matter too much. So in order to make this work, let's pull this in 1/8 of an inch. I just want it to look okay. All right, and then we got a cap that's going to go here and a cap that's going to go there. Now this cap, I actually want to have the UCS align with this face here. So what I can do a couple things to make that happen. See this one that says snap UCS to active solid? I'm going to turn this on. And now see how it kind of like it's picking a solid, and I want to draw a rectangle, but see how it's like picking a face? I want to draw a rectangle from here, but see now it's on this face. I want it to be 1.5 inches by 1 inch. And I can extrude this along this plane. And we can just have it stop right there. So now I have that solid going on here. Same with this one. We could say let's do another rectangle. And I'm going to say let's pick this face. Now this is not going to be, oh no, it is going to be angled. I don't want that to happen. I'm going to do it over here. We'll just pick it and we'll just move it. So let's go here and we'll make this 1.5 inches by 1. We'll extrude this. Actually, let's move it. I'm just going to move it from the center here to the center here. Now, if this was just drawing, I mean, we could definitely angle this back, but this is kind of just drawing for right now. So I'm going to grab it. I'm going to extrude it, and then we'll come back and we can tweak this if we needed to. I can angle it back. I need to know what this dimension was. So if I go, let's go this way. For some reason it always turns up like that. So we can see if this is a good dimension. It's kind of a funk dimension. Maybe I can grab it. No. So I'm gonna just go back to world UCS and maybe see if that helps me. To put that angle on, it might be better to draw it here. Or I guess I could measure this. So measure from here. Just need to measure it so I know how to put it back. Let's do this. Let's orbit it. The other thought too on that angle is, would we want it to miter up and have solid piece there? I don't know. I don't know how that would work or how that would look. If that was the case, I might actually cut into this more, but then you got some funky stuff happening there. I just want to know what this depth is. So if I draw a line, maybe. Let's do this. So I'm going to go into I'm going to type in X line. Make sure I'm on this face, this top face here. See how now I'm drawing an X line? And I have it. So see how the X line goes through? Now I'm going to do an additional X line. Oops, XL. But I'm going to actually click this. I'm going to isolate only this piece. I'm going to do XL again. And I'm still in the active UCS plane. This is a way to get around a change in the UCS all the time. So now, if I go back, if I go back to seeing everything, see this? Now I can dimension from here to here, and it gives me an active, or it gives me a good number. So 0.1739. Or I can actually pick this point and it gives me a good stopping spot, which is a better solution. Why is it not letting Come on. Let's do. Not sure why it's not letting me angle it. Let me see if I can angle it severely. It's snapping to something here. And then you can do a taper angle. What's that's gonna do that. Because you can edit this way. I'm not sure why that's doing that. We're in world UCS. Maybe if I look at it from the top and I go like this. Maybe, oh, I know why. It might be because I'm in conceptual view. Perhaps. Let's go back. Oops. Okay, so conceptual view versus this wireframe does get a little funk. But maybe I was snapping at something I shouldn't have been. It's annoying me. I'm gonna grab it and I'm gonna hold the right click and hit. Oh, I don't know why it's doing it. All right, let's do something different because this is not working. We'll go right side view. I'm gonna draw in a rectangle. If at first it doesn't succeed, oh, this is drawing a rectangle in at that funky view, so I'm gonna type in UCS view. I'm gonna draw a rectangle from here to here. Yep. I'm gonna pull this in to match that angle, and I'm just going to move this out. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. All right, so now I can trash this. I can trash this. I can go back to world UCS, orbit this. Okay, and now I can say let's extrude this line, this guy, out 1.5 inches. So there, and I'll just trash this guy. And I'll move this guy from here to there. There's my angle. There's two ways to skin a cat, basically. All right, so back to conceptual. So here's my finished bench. Everything looks pretty good. Make sure that looks good. And then I'm just gonna save this. Save it. This, okay, it's coming in at a funky thing. What I can do, if this looks good to me and everything's happy, I'm gonna go into modify. There's a way. Let me go back. I'm gonna see about, well, this is just a setting I don't have set up. I think it's hide, erase. If it's not here, I know it's under modify. There's a way to hide a product. So I want to do something here. I want to make isolate selected entities, hide selected entities. Yeah. Show. So I think this should highlight my under parts. Nope. Oh, let's maybe try this. Nope. There's one that does the whole entire product. Show. This is just a way to do what I was doing down here. But these are groups. These are the products that'll group all the parts together, and I have my group selection, I think, turned off. Oh, let's see. This is just settings that aren't set up. Honestly. Let's type in group. Sometimes in AutoCAD. Group. Display. Let's see what one does. Group display 0. Group 2 is what it was. Oh, what is it? Details show. Oh, we can just, let's just look at it from the front. I mean, actually, might not even need to do what I'm doing right now. So what I want to do is I want to analyze this so I can create a product out of this. So I'm going to analyze this, but before I do that, I'm going to go into my settings. I'm going to say drawing options, tool, no, I think it's under drawing options. No, it's under Microvellum options. And I'm going to go into solids, and I have some settings here that I just want to check to make sure they're good. So my material thickness, minimum maximum, my part size, minimum maximum. Okay, I think we should be all right. This is just going to display stuff that's giving me errors. So now I'm going to say, let's go back to wireframe. And I'm going to say, let's do solid model analyzer, and it's asking me to select the 3D solids, which I believe if I grab all of these, yep, that's everything. I was trying to isolate it so I didn't see these, but it doesn't really matter. Only other one I want is the top. I'm going to right click, and it's going to say, do you want to save before you analyze? Yes, I would. Now it's analyzing these models, and it's asking me what do I want to put it as, and want it just to be 3/4 inch plywood for right now is fine. You can pick whatever you want. This is for, oh shoot, I think I did that wrong. Let's try that again. I think I was picking for the 1 inch material. I didn't realize it. So let's grab this and grab this. Right click. Last I want to save. Let's see if I did that wrong. Yeah, see, it's asking me for the 1 inch material. Sorry, that needs to be 1 inch solid hardwood. Now this is the 3/4 inch material. This needs to be 3/4 inch sheet stock. That is plywood. Yeah, I want to just drop it in this current drawing. I'm just going to move it over here. I'm just going to drop it over here. And then what we'll do is we can move it into place. Okay, so here's, now this is now a product. You can see it's pulled everything in and created parts and pieces for it. So now I can go to the top view here, and let's just move, these are the 3D solids I originally started with. And we'll just move these out of the way. These are AutoCAD, so I can move it just like I would anything else. But now, this is now a product, and I'm going to move it into place. So I'm going to move it from here, and we'll just pick a point that I can reference from both. And now if I go through and say, let's see what this looks like in conceptual view, everything looks good. I'm going to change it back to wireframe view. I am going to go, I would save this. I'm going to save it in a different file though. I'm just going to cut this. Let's start a new file, or take my 2D drawing file that this was in and dump it here. We'll call it this, fine, so save it. So now my file, that's the bench, is clean. And if I wanted to do some drawings that I could show my customer, let's just take this and say, let's go to the 3D drawing view. We'll trash the viewport. We'll come back in, and let's just do the view base command for this. Okay, it's just asking me, so I'll just say entire model, or I'll just grab everything. And it's asking me if they want to go to that page. I do. And here's the front view. I'll do a plan view way up here, and then we'll do an isometric view here. Now this is going to turn to like a wireframe. Don't worry, I'm going to select it and hit edit. Go to hidden views, visible lines. Here's just a quick look at that. This looks a little funky. Back. Maybe I'm missing a piece. Did I not fill that piece in? Oh, did I not analyze it? No, it's there. Something's funky. That could just be that command is being funky. Let's update. Update. let's select this, edit, add. I just want to make sure that piece is selected. Edit view. I'm not sure why that's doing that, but I think that's all right. We could figure that out as we go. So that one I want to keep like that. This one I want to keep like this, but I want to add a section. So let's actually move this down a little bit. These are automatically aligning. See how the top follows. And I'm going to grab this, and I want to put a section through vertically. Now I got to pull it this way to do a vertical section. Okay, so here's my first vertical section, and I'm just going to move this into place. Now I might do 2 vertical sections on this one, because technically, or maybe what we'll do, let's do this instead. Let's pull this, because the vertical section is really the same. We'll pull this way, and let's throw in a left side view. So if I grab this and just say project again, now it's going to give me a left side view. And in this case, it might be good because we are doing 2 different ones to pull this and do a right side view too. Right side view is going to give us that step. Then we got our left side view, right side view, move this over, move this over. This we can move over as well. In this case, I do want to do another plan section, but let's do a plan section where the studs go straight. We'll go up. I want more. I wouldn't mind having more, but because of space on the page, I'm just going to do a plan section through the base cabinets. Okay. Yeah, move this over. Now I would just rearrange this however looks best. I don't like having dead space in my drawings. Maybe I'll add a detail. So maybe we'll add a detail right here. Oops. So it's not dead space. This one I want to make bigger. So then we can throw some dimensions in here if you want, so that the customer knows, hey, this is what we're thinking. You know, just some basics. I always, you know, whoever your customer is, you gotta take it. And sometimes if you give them too much, then they'll just take it to Home Depot or Lowe's, and I mean, not in this case. I don't think we're gonna have a problem, but you know, but now we can give them a little bit of something to go off of and say, is this really what you want? Yes, it is. No, it's not. Tweak it here, tweak it there. I might, you know, if I was really concerned with the customer changing stuff, I might not have analyzed everything until after. Just because now to edit stuff, it's better to edit those 3D solids. So here's this. So save that. And same with the processing of this, then we just process this like anything else. So we'll save that. Let me just process it just for fun. So let's do from drawing. It's got my, I just selected that product. All mine are set up to create the DXF files. It's gonna take a little bit longer, but it will give us a little bit more. So here's all the parts and pieces. So I'm going to select all, nest it, add this to the nest. It did not pull in the solids. Oh, it's pulling in a weird specification group too, but that's all right. Now these parts and pieces too, they're coming in funky, part 1 through 10 or whatever. But, oh shoot, That was just a back wall. I don't care about that. Hold on. Let's cancel this for a sec. Let's do something. I'm going to jump in. This is just to clean it up for my reporting. I'm going to jump into the actual parts list for this. And I'm going to just do some tweaking to it. So these are named 1 through 20. And they're named off of just randomness. So what I would like to do is I know kind of what's what. These are the hardwood pieces. So this is going to be this is the left side plate. Left. No, right? Yeah, that's the left side cap. Right side cap. Top. We'll call this top. Back cap. These are, let's show us what you errors. If we want to see more of this, we can see more of this. We can also grab. We should be able to grab 2 at a time. Grab 1. I don't know why that's doing that. So these two, looks like the numbers are a little funk. I know there's an update that's working on getting these right, but we can make these better numbers. This is 6.5. These, I'm not sure what those are supposed to be. That one should definitely be 46. These are all 6. So we can just update this. So this is a 43 and 3/4. So these we can just grab and copy down, grab and copy down. Now these are studs. So stud A. Actually, so you can see the location of the studs right here. So this is actually stud 1. So let's start at the bottom and work our way up. This one is stud A. Stud B, stud C, stud D, stud E, and stud F. Those are plates. What are these? That's one. That's the top plate. That's a bottom top plate. Bottom top plate. These should be 6, 69 3/4. Oops, 69 3/4, 69 3/4. This is supposed to be 3.75. Just don't remember what these are. Oh, these are the sides, right? These are the sides, sides. Oh no, these are the backs. This piece is the bench back, top back, bench bottom back. 23. We can go back and measure too. I think this is this piece. So if I measure from here to here, we're at 28. So that's that piece. What's this 23 piece? This one? No. Oh, this one. That's the countertop. This should be 23 and a 16th. These are 69 3/4. Going right down the list. This is the count. We'll call this the bench seat. These ones, so 6 by. That's a bottom plate. So this is the bottom plate, and then we can look at. Oops, I'm on this wrong side. Sorry. This is a bottom plate, But this one I need to know where it is, so I'm just going to go over here, see my X origin, so 3/4 of an inch. So this is the bottom plate. This is the floor plate. This is the bottom plate. This part, this is the back wall, back wall. Face, 46 by 71 1/4. 46. So sometimes there's a little bit of cleanup. That's okay. This is 30.5625. Again, there's an update that's kind of coming out for this. That will give us these numbers a little bit cleaner. Apply. This one's supposed to be 1. I don't know what this one is. Left. Oh, that one is a funky number actually because of the. Actually, this one's a funky number too. I'll leave those alone. This 23/4, 23 1/16. I'm going to say that this one should be 17.5. Oh, this one might bench top back. That one actually might be funky like that because of the angle. Not sure what this piece is. This is the top. So I got the. This is the top cap, I think. Wall top plate. Anyways, you get the idea. We can edit this, and then we'll just save it. Save, close, and redraw. Okay. Now I'm going to jump in and I'm going to say, let's do this, and I'm going to pick one of these, and I'm going to pick all of them in the room. And now we'll process. Yes, I want to replace what's there. And take a coffee break. This will take a second longer because it's processing more parts, but then I can process and look at the report. Yeah, so I'd like to look at the report or look at the work order. I'm going to grab everything. Now see, look, that one product that we made, which is this, see now how all the names are coming in, sizes are coming in at my updated size. So, you know, this I should have named bench, you know, bench surround or something like that. It's just product. So now I'm going to select everything, select nest, assign. Yeah, that's fine. And then process. And I actually want to deselect. Hold on, I want to deselect my hardwood. No, the hardwood didn't come in. Okay, good. So now let's process. And yes, it's fine. And now I can run reports. So let's do reports. We want to do cut list. We want to do a cost. We can figure out, let's see if this is close to what we want to charge for this. Takes a second for this to load. 33, that's a little high maybe, but we can adjust that number. But this is what I was going to look at. The product detail report with the dynamic image. So this gives us a view of everything dynamically. So this, even though this is a custom thing that I did, it still gives us a view because it just took a screenshot of that. So this is what I would use for cut lists. And other reporting here. And then we can see the nest too if we want to take a look at that. And we can nest whatever we wanted to. But this is the nesting that happened. And it's got those funky sides in there. It's got our studs in there. So so that's the bench from start to finish. Hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully this works for you. Let me know if you have any questions. But hopefully this will help you get a little bit of a grasp on getting some custom stuff done. using the solid model analyzer and the Microvellum products that are there. So save. I'll save this drawing. I'll send it to you too. All right. Thank you.